So people are worried that this upcoming week that because of the second largest bank failure in US history, Silicon Valley Bank that just happened, that there could be more bank failures coming and the trickle down effect because of this and the underlying banks that are connected to this. And this could be a problem for a lot of Americans and the financial system, and even other countries as well. And I'm going to give you all the details of this. Check this out. Yeah, so Silicon Valley Bank has collapsed. And this is because investors and people that had their money there, small businesses, withdrew tens of billions of dollars from the bank because the bank said they needed to raise $2 billion. And all of a sudden, everybody panicked, and it literally caused a run on the bank. This was the second largest bank failure in US history. Now, this bank collapse basically happened in only 48 hours. So imagine your bank going under in just 48 hours, how quickly that happened. Now, this bank, Silicon Valley Bank, had over $200 billion in assets. Yeah. And the largest bank to ever fail was back in 2008, Washington Mutual had just a little bit over $300 billion in assets. So more, but not that much more in relative terms. I mean, I get it, it's more, but I mean, both these banks are up there, right? And a lot of people are wondering if this is the start of another financial meltdown like we had in 2008 and 2009. And now you can see here the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, and the governors are going to have a closed door meeting on Monday to see if we have another financial meltdown on our hands. And honestly, this could be so big, even other countries are at risk. Even the United Kingdom is racing to minimize damage from Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Yeah, this is not just the little Silicon Valley that has to be worried about this, because it's a mass amount of companies, small businesses, medium businesses, and it's a huge trickle down. I mean, a lot of people could be losing their jobs, and there's $200 billion of money that was in there that is now trapped or gone. Remember, FDIC insurance is only 250,000. So think about all the businesses that had money in there that could be just literally gone. Yeah, you can see here British Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt said on Sunday he was working with the Prime Minister and Bank of England governor to avoid or minimize damage resulting from the chaos engulfing the UK arm of Silicon Valley Bank. Like I said, it's not just little Silicon Valley here that is engulfed in this. It could be a kind of domino effect here. This was a big bank. Quote, "We've been working at pace over the weekend and through the night," they told Sky News. "We will bring forward very soon plans to make sure people are able to meet their cash flow requirements to pay their staff. And they're working on finding longer term solutions that minimizes or even avoids completely losses to some of our most promising companies." And here's where things get a little corrupt. Silicon Valley Bank employees received bonuses hours before the government takeover. If this isn't scandalous, I don't know what is. But Silicon Valley Bank employees received annual bonuses Friday, just hours before regulators seized the failing bank, according to people with knowledge of the payments. So, knowing that they were in trouble and that there was a run on the bank, they sent out annual bonuses hours before regulators seized the failing bank. The size of the payouts couldn't be determined, but their bonuses range from about $12,000 for associates to $140,000 for managing directors, according to Glassdoor.com. Yeah. That Silicon Valley Bank was the highest paying publicly traded bank in 2018, with employees getting an average of $250,000 for that year, according to Bloomberg. Yeah. After its seizure, the FDIC offered the employees 45 days of employment. The people said the bank had 8,528 employees as of December. Also, investors are asking the government to step in after the Silicon Valley Bank failure and to basically say, step in and make sure that people get their money back in one way or another, and to prevent a financial collapse here. Because if people and businesses potentially lose out on millions or billions of dollars, and the financial system collapses or one arm of it collapses, this puts our whole banking system at risk. The second largest financial. So previously, the major other bank was acquired. I think it was by, let me see here, J.P. Morgan. Yeah, that largest bank failure before was acquired by J.P. Morgan. So that's a different story here. And so they acquired all their assets and things like that. This one, if it's not acquired by somebody, maybe the government can acquire their assets, because there's going to be billions and billions and billions of dollars in assets, plus the FDIC insurance protection here. The government could step in and maybe just absolve a little bit of the losses and just say, we're going to step in with the full faith and credit of our government and make sure that the system as a whole is protected. You got to remember that these are people ultimately. I hate that the name is Silicon Valley, because it's going to put a negative connotation on this. Because if this was just Bank of America or the People's First National Bank, it would have a different connotation on this, right? And because it's Silicon Valley, people are going to be like, oh, let them fail. Those guys are, terrible, blah, 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 right? But because it's Silicon Valley, people are going to think, oh, this is terrible. But the reality of it is a lot of these are startup businesses, which is really small businesses, okay? And a lot of these are small companies. They're startups. They're companies trying to make it, okay? And a lot of these people have, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 employees, and their jobs are dependent on it. Their families are dependent on it. And the small business owners are dependent on it. And a lot of these companies had raised money. They had bank there. And remember, there's other countries' money's dependent on this. So like if America lets this bank fail, imagine how it looks on us as a country, on our banking system as a country, and all these people's lives as a country, and all the people's jobs lost. Like there's just the whole financial system. It's a nightmare. And when the banks open on Monday, imagine the chaos that could ensue at other people's banks. There's probably going to be a lot of other people that just go, just in case, I'm going to go take my money out of XYZ Bank or ABC Bank or, EFG Bank, because it's probably going to happen. And this is where like tier one banks, the top tier banks, are going to be a little bit more safe right now than smaller banks that don't maybe quite have as much assets. Even though Silicon Valley Bank was a somewhat larger bank, it wasn't a tier one bank. I mean, they were publicly traded bank and stuff, right? Look at the problems that arose. So I'll keep you up to date here. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. Here's some videos you should watch next, Here is President Biden announcing trillions of dollars of money coming. It's a good video here. Or here's 2 new bills just announced in Congress that could save Social Security and Medicare. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.